Uh, hello guys. I am Mr. Wagden, and today we are doing quite something different from what our earlier channel described. We were supposed to be doing only purely chemistry practicals, but due to demand, we are also doing mathematics, and that's why even the channel is edited to a different name. If you're searching for it, right now you'll be searching for Mr. Wagden Math Chem, Mr. Wagden Math Chem on YouTube. And guys, please watch this, subscribe, and even forward to more learners to gain from this. Okay, what I'll be doing today is just techniques in the calculator and some of the hurdles students face when they're using the calculator. That is, even if they know the working, but they have trouble presenting the answers. Okay, I'll just start with some of the minor issues that I plan to address today. And that is, for example, when you are doing calculations, maybe you even don't know the mode of the calculator, and it gives you an answer that you are not even sure what to write down. And I'll be just tackling some few of the cases that I've experienced with my learners. If you look at my calculator, you can see on the display there is a D. There's a D there, which happens to be the correct mode for the calculator. But you will find sometimes when you are performing a calculation, especially I've seen my students when they are doing calculations in moles, they have trouble when the answer is, when they do a calculation and the answer is given in standard form. I'll just do a minor operation, like for example, if I was doing 25 times, let's say 0.3, and then the answer divided by let's say 1,000. The answer divided by 1,000. Realize on my display it says 7.5 times 10 raised to negative 3. So I've seen most of the learners struggling to write that value down, especially when they are calculating moles, and they keep on carrying it when they are calculating, they are doing other calculations, because they don't know how to write it in the normal way. So this is very easy. You can reset your mode to normal, and it will give you your answer in decimals. So like for example, just go to my mode function here, mode, and I press it until I have on the display an option for normal. You can see there I have fixed, fixed there, science mode, and then scientific mode, and then the normal. Normal is option 3, so I have to press 3. I'll press 3, and then it directs me that I have to press 2, and now my answer there is 0.075. That is easy. You can now write down 0.075, and you can carry on using that in your calculation. So that is especially for those who will be doing their chemistry practicals, and your calculator keeps on giving you answers in standard form, of which in standard form sometimes it becomes very difficult for interpretation. And maybe if you wanted to use the same answer in another calculation, you can easily turn your calculator to normal so that you can easily do your calculation. So that's one of them. And then I can't forget, we also have students who also experience, like for example, when you're calculating time, that is when you do distance divided by speed, you get time. So maybe the question is asking you to present the answer in hours and how many minutes. So you will find that when you do a calculation, let's say for example I had maybe a distance of 120, let's say a body moves at 120 kilometers per hour, moves a distance of 120, and the speed is 50 kilometers per hour. So I'll take 120, that is distance in kilometers, divided by the speed 50 kilometers per hour. So to get time, we divide 120 divided by 50. Now that gives you 2.4, which means it's 2.4 hours. Now what if you need to know how many hours and how many minutes are in such a calculation? Instead of doing a long calculation, you just press this key function here, this function here, and it tells you that those are 2 hours and 24 minutes. 2 hours and 24 minutes. Remember, this is very important when you're calculating like calculations that involve relative speed. That's when we do a lot of distance divided by speed to get time. So here you have your time as 2 hours and 24 minutes. Remember earlier your answer was 2.4, so the answer was 2.4. That means 2.4 hours, but you want to know how many hours and minutes are there, you press that key function there, and then it tells you 2 hours and 24 minutes. Now you've seen that we've been getting very different answers depending on what mode you are using. So, and I mentioned earlier that when I was starting that this calculator is in the right function mode, which is D. That is what is supposed to display before you do any calculations. But I'll encourage you, before you do any calculations or before you use a calculator, reset it so that you'll be using a calculator which is in the right mode for you. Because sometimes you might use a calculator in the wrong mode. You present your work and the calculator will keep on giving you wrong answers without knowing. So you make sure your calculator is supposed to be in the right mode. Like for example, saying D, but I'll show you how